In this video, we're counting down 13 cars from the 1930s that were so painfully slow, some owners joked they could get out and walk faster. Number 1. Austin 7. Let's talk about the Austin 7, or the Baby Austin as folks lovingly called it. This tiny marvel was Britain's answer to affordable motoring during the cash-strapped 1930s. Would you believe this popular little car packed a mere 10.5 horsepower in its 747 cubic centimeter engine? That's right, modern riding lawnmowers often have more power. The Austin 7 was comically small, barely reaching 6 feet in length, making it look like a child's toy on the road. Drivers quickly learned to plan their routes carefully, especially when hills were involved. This pint-sized vehicle struggled to reach 40 miles per hour on flat ground, and accelerating from a standstill to 30 miles per hour, better settle in for a 30-second wait. Number 2. Morris Minor. While the Austin was putting along Britain's roads, another slow-motion icon was making history under the Morris name. But don't confuse this with the famous post-war model. We're talking about its forgotten ancestor from 1928, a car that predated its famous namesake by 2 decades. The pre-war Morris Minor promised modern motoring with its 847 cubic centimeter side valve engine, but those 23 horsepower weren't taking anyone on a high-speed adventure. Morris's marketing department worked overtime convincing buyers this was a modern and somewhat sporty vehicle, conveniently glossing over its breathtaking inability to climb hills. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Number 3. Fiat Topalino. If you thought the Morris was underpowered, wait until you hear about what was zipping, or rather crawling, around Italy in the 1930s. The Fiat Topalino, literally Little Mouse in Italian, was one of the smallest production cars ever made, and its name couldn't have been more fitting. This tiny Italian icon packed a minuscule 569 cubic centimeter engine that generated just 13 horsepower, barely enough to move its 1,100-pound frame. The Topalino's most distinctive feature? Its unusually narrow front track that made it look like it was permanently doing a wheelie as it puttered down the road. Number 4. BMW 3/20. Practicality over performance wasn't just an Italian philosophy in the 1930s. The BMW 3/20 marked the company's first venture into car production under its own name, a far cry from the speed machines bearing the blue and white propeller today. With its tiny 788 cubic centimeter engine pushing out a meager 20 horsepower, this German tortoise redefined the concept of slow. But BMW's engineers weren't chasing speed records. Instead, they obsessed over build quality and reliability, creating something that would outlast its contemporaries, even if it couldn't outrun them. Number 5. Ford Model A. Across the Atlantic, slowing things down was becoming an American tradition. When Henry Ford finally retired the Model T after 19 years, the public waited with bated breath for its replacement. The Model A promised to usher Ford into the modern automotive age, but behind its stylish new look lurked some surprisingly old-fashioned performance numbers. Though equipped with a substantial 3.3-liter engine, the Model A's modest 40 horsepower meant most owners never experienced its theoretical 65 miles per hour top speed. Who could blame them? The car's substantial steel body and primitive suspension created a white-knuckle experience at anything above 45 miles per hour. The steering would wander, the ride would deteriorate, and the whole vehicle felt uncomfortably unstable. That glacial acceleration, taking a full half-minute to reach 50 miles per hour, rarely bothered Depression-era buyers, though. They weren't looking for thrills, but for something far more valuable. A machine that started reliably every morning and wouldn't leave them stranded. Number 6. Chevrolet Series A/B National. While reliability was king for Ford owners, General Motors had a different vision for American drivers. In 1929, they launched the Chevrolet Series A/B National as a direct shot at Ford's market dominance. GM's strategy? Just add 6 more horsepower and call it revolutionary. Chevrolet's marketing department worked overtime selling this powerful machine to Depression-era Americans. Their 6-cylinder, 3.2-liter engine produced 46 horsepower, technically outmuscling Ford, but still requiring a painfully long 40 seconds to reach 60 miles per hour. That's enough time to hard-boil an egg while waiting to merge onto the highway. Number 7. MG Midget. Across the English Channel, a fascinating bit of automotive theater was playing out. The MG Midget wasn't just a car, it was a costume costume drama on wheels. Introduced in the 1930s as an affordable sports car, what the Midget lacked in actual performance, it made up for in theatrical flair. Picture this, a tiny car with dramatic cutaway doors and a rakish profile that practically screamed speed machine. Yet beneath that sporty hood lurked an 847 cubic centimeter engine producing a mere 20 horsepower, barely enough to push the car to 60 miles per hour on a good day with favorable winds. The genius was in the lightweight construction. The Midget's nimble handling and responsive steering created such a convincing illusion of speed that owners happily played along, donning racing goggles and fluttering scarves as if they were breaking land speed records instead of barely outpacing a bicycle. Number 8. Hillman Minx. While MG owners were playing race car driver with their sporty-looking but underpowered roadsters, practical British families were embracing a completely different automotive philosophy. The Hillman Minx represented the polar opposite approach to motoring, a car that made absolutely no pretenses about performance. The 1930s Minx was designed with one purpose in mind: getting families from point A to point B reliably, regardless of how long the journey might take. Its 1,185 cubic centimeter engine's modest 30 horsepower output wasn't a design flaw, but a deliberate choice. The car's substantial weight and conservative engineering prioritized dependability over speed, resulting in a vehicle that needed a leisurely 35 seconds to reach 50 miles per hour. Number 9. Riley 12/4. Not everyone settling for slow cars in the 1930s was doing so to save money. For the discerning British motorist who believed haste was undignified, the Riley 12/4 offered something entirely different: sluggishness wrapped in sophistication. While the 1240's 1.5-liter engine featured an innovative twin-cam design that engineers could appreciate, it still only managed to produce 45 horsepower. But Riley wasn't selling speed, they were selling an experience. The company had masterfully transformed pokiness into a premium feature. When questioned about their car's leisurely acceleration, Riley owners would simply adjust their driving gloves and extol the virtues of the smooth ride and luxurious interior. Why rush when you can arrive in comfort, seemed to be the unofficial motto. Number 10. Vauxhall 10/4. While Riley owners embraced a leisurely pace as a luxury feature, across the Atlantic, American automotive giant General Motors was making its own slow-moving contribution to British roads. After acquiring Vauxhall, GM embarked on an ambitious experiment, creating a British car with American DNA. The resulting Vauxhall 10/4 perfectly embodied this cultural collision, looking somewhat American but behaving quintessentially British, especially in its reluctance to hurry anywhere. Despite GM's engineering prowess, the 10/4's 1.2-liter engine labored under the weight of American-influenced styling elements that made the car heavier than its competitors. Number 11. Singer 9. From racing dreams to roadside reality, the Singer 9 tells a tale of automotive ambition that didn't quite match up with reality. Coventry's answer to the sports car craze of the 1930s looked the part with its racing-inspired styling, but underneath that sporty exterior lurked a serious case of automotive false advertising. The Singer 9, especially in its Le Mans replica form, was marketed with racing glory in its DNA. What the glossy brochures failed to mention was that when Singer sent cars to prestigious events like the Tourist Trophy, the results were sometimes catastrophic. In 1935, 3 Singers crashed at the exact same corner due to a fundamental flaw in the steering linkage design, a dramatic failure that decimated the brand's reputation. Number 12. Nash Ambassador 600. Unlike Singer's reluctant pivot to efficiency, Nash boldly embraced slowness as a feature, not a bug. In the land of V8 engines and drag races, the 1941 Ambassador 600 dared to ask a question that seemed almost un-American. What if your car's most impressive number wasn't its top speed, but how long you could drive between fill-ups? The Ambassador 600 was revolutionary in ways you couldn't immediately see. Its unibody construction eliminated the separate frame, making it lighter and more rigid than traditional cars. This innovation wasn't about winning races. It was about stretching every drop of gasoline to achieve an astonishing 20 to 25 miles per gallon when most American cars guzzled fuel twice as fast. Number 13. Opel Cadet. Cadet. The Nash Ambassador might have been America's foray into fuel efficiency, but across the Atlantic, the Great Depression was forcing Europeans into even more extreme compromises. In 1936, General Motors' German subsidiary introduced the Opel Cadet, a car that embodied the harsh economic realities of pre-war Europe. Conventional wisdom might tell you that German engineering meant performance, but the Cadet's tiny 1.1-liter engine told a different story. On the emerging Autobahn network, the Cadet was essentially a moving roadblock. Its lightweight construction, while great for manufacturing costs, created a genuinely terrifying experience at speeds above 50 miles per hour, with the car developing a distinctive wobble that warned drivers to ease off the gas.